It's the morning drive with me, Tim Elliott. Welcome to another hour of the programme. And in this hour, talking entrepreneurship. Just a reminder, by the way, that you can find us at mirabusiness.fm. That is the website. You can get in touch. WhatsApp's the easiest way. WhatsApp.mira.fm means no phone numbers to remember. Just type that in. And also email info@mira.fm. And you can find us across all the various platforms. You know where they are. Just search MIRA, Mira Business FM. So, entrepreneurship, building businesses, somebody who's done it, two people who've done it, to be more precise. Graeme and Leanne Carling are Scottish entrepreneurs. I'm guessing proudly Scottish entrepreneurs as well. Investors, co-founders of the Carling Group, which is their privately held family investment office. Leanne, congratulations and welcome. Good to see you. And Graeme, welcome to you as well.
Thank you very much.
Who's going to tell the story here? Because your story is really interesting to me. I'll ask you, Graeme, first of all. 2007, I looked at this and I thought, were you insane? Quit your job, 3 months savings, baby's on the way, no safety net at all. And you decide, I'm starting again. What on earth made you decide
Well, I'm
to do
crazy. Yeah, I'm definitely crazy.
That's what I thought. I
sure.
don't know you well enough to say that out loud, but you must be.
Yeah, look, it actually goes back before that. I'd started a number of small businesses around 2000, 2001. They didn't work out, you know. And so I think it was three, one after the other, small businesses that ultimately failed. I had to go back to mainstream employment. I was licking my wounds, you know, my ego was dented, my pride bruised, and I had to go back to mainstream employment, to a job I just over broke, and that was awful. So around about 2002, 2003, when I went back in mainstream employment, I read a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad, written by Robert Kiyosaki, and that was kind of told me at that time, it was like a light bulb for me, that I really had no idea or no clue about finances. In fact, I had zero financial education. It wasn't something that was prevalent, you know, where I came from, which was, you know, in the council house from Dundee. So
we're still not taught it now, are we?
No, we're still not. No,
it's not in schools for some unknown reason.
Well, it's a deliberate reason, if you ask me. I mean, I think it's part of the plan. But yes. So so when I read that book, it really, like I say, it was a light bulb moment, and it for me, you know, I just for the next few years immersed myself in becoming more financially educated whilst working in you know, back in mainstream employment.
Well, you were driven, clearly.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I did not want to work for anyone else. It was horrible having to go in to, you know, earn money. You know, I had to recover financially. I had to recover from a confidence point of view. I'd had, you know, multiple small failures. I mean, nothing now, you know, when I look back, but at the time it was painful, you know, so, yeah.
Okay, Leanne, what were you thinking at this point?
Well, Graeme and I met in 2005, when Graeme had to return back to mainstream employment. And like Graeme, I grew up in a council house in Glasgow. I was very ambitious, but I didn't know about your own business, so I was always trying to climb the corporate ladder. Frustrated, but really ambitious, so I kind of hopped from company to company, just looking for the higher...
You knew you wanted to get somewhere.
Yeah, I just didn't know where.
And
how to get there. So I just worked really, really hard. As I say, I was really ambitious. I always wanted to learn. I, you know, signed up for everything within the companies to make myself learn and grow. And in 2005, when Graeme and I met, you know, I was in a really good job. I was doing really well. But then Graeme became my boss. And that's when we kind of decided to quit our jobs.
And then you became his boss.
Quite literally overnight.
Natural course of things. No, but I mean, I always think it takes guts and it takes drive, but it comes from a place where I remember my dad said to me, and Graeme, I think you know, this is something that you've kind of intimated without actually saying it. My dad always said to me, "You never really make any money unless you work for yourself." That's something that he kind of drummed into me, which I've managed to not follow really successfully, I hasten to add as well. But there is something within you that, whether you know it or not, you're not somebody that can work for anybody else.
No, I'm not, and I'm certainly today I'm unemployable. I could not work in that environment. I haven't been able to be an employee, I think, for years now. But it's interesting you say that. I seen my dad do very well in the corporate world from where he came from, and he had no money at any point in time.
Yeah.
So I knew, look, you could be successful in the corporate world, but why are we still skint every Christmas, every new, summer holidays?
It's payday to payday, isn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
you're in the rat race.
Yeah.
And ultimately, so I seen, I suppose, first what I didn't want to be like. And that was the driver for me. There's no way that, and my dad was a success in that world, but had no, money came in, money went out. It was just there. There was no.
It's interesting that, because this then becomes a conversation of how do you define success, because that's clearly a driver, I guess, for both of you. You both wanted to move up. But what was Leanne, what was your perception? What was your idea of success?
It was the freedom to do whatever I wanted when I wanted, because if you're employed, you get 22 or 30 holidays a year. They dictated your life. And especially when we started working together, I felt awkward. I was really good at my job. Was I then going to be looked at that the bonuses and things I was getting because it was my partner? Whereas before, I was successful, and really good at my job. So, but it was more about the time and to be able to do what you want to do and enjoy doing it.
Yeah. Graeme, is that the same for you?
Absolutely. It's the freedom. My dad hated his job, every single one of them. I mean, he was a depressed guy, successful. From his family, he was the guy that, had worked his way through the corporate ladder. We'd moved from Scotland into the south of England. That was kind of unheard of, but that was a pivotal moment for me because it showed me a different environment. But my dad was successful in it, but absolutely, just a depressed guy when it came to working. He just didn't enjoy it. And I'm seeing this and I'm going, is that it? For me, when I was younger, sort of growing up, no way am I wanting to be like my dad when I'm 50, and he's in a good job, but just really unhappy generally, no matter what he done or how much money he got or promoted or whatever. He was he was unfulfilled. And there was no way that was going to happen to me.
No, I can see that. It's good to be able to go to work with a smile on your face. I remember my father-in-law saying years ago, nobody enjoys their job. And just a comment around the dinner table sort of thing. And I was sitting there thinking, I actually quite like my job. And I'm all right with my job. And I realised I was quite fortunate in a lot of ways. Neither of you said or made any mention of money in success there at all. Money's important, I get that, and I know you've made money, but that wasn't, Leanne, that wasn't your driver.
No, it was genuinely to be able to do the things we wanted to do in our timescales, and instead of waiting to retire to do them while we're young, fit and healthy.
Okay, so you go into business, and you're obviously married and you're in business together. That's another question to ask. I've just realised. I'll come back to that in a minute. But you've since built one of Scotland's largest private landlord portfolios. So where did you start? I'll ask you.
So we started, like I say, I went back to mainstream employment in 2002. I got myself financially educated as much as I could whilst I was still working. And when the property market and the financial crisis started to hit 2007 and 8, the numbers started to make sense from a point of view, from an investment point of view.
Yeah.
So if I was right and I was really believed in what I'd learned over those few years, it wasn't an overnight thing. It took a while for me to recover. Then the time was right for us to get in the property market when everyone else was getting out, because prices were coming down. There were motivated sellers in the market, and finance was still kind of available to be able to finance it. So if the numbers were right, they made sense. I didn't have that knowledge previously in my businesses. So the timing and circumstances, there was an opportunity there.
Well, I was going to say that, and as much as you obviously took on board the financial knowledge, you also, there was a moment where you realised, okay, opportunity here.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people don't necessarily put those two things together, do they?
Well, I mean, I think, again, if it goes back to certainly in my case, it was financial education. I was seeing opportunities everywhere where a lot of other people were just seeing absolute fear, carnage, and all that stuff. So I was in a different place. The difficulty is, do you go for it? You know, having had failures before, you know, and ultimately,
Taking the risk.
yeah. Do we
we take
go
the
for it
risk?
here? Yeah.
Well, that's an interesting thing because I mean, the old phrase risk reward is obviously the thing, but it's being comfortable with risk, isn't it? What was it, Leanne, that I don't know, tipped the scales in favour of the risk?
Well, to go back, Graeme and I are both very ambitious, and we were working together, and it was quite funny when I met Graeme. He introduced me to the Rich Dad Poor Dad book and all the other financial education, and we studied together for 2 years before we took the jump or the leap of faith of getting into business together. But the argument was, I'll quit my job and I'll focus on it, and you keep the stability of the income. And it was a fight between us, no, Graeme wanted to quit, I wanted to quit. So we then decided to quit together and do it together, because if we're going to do something and do it well, you've got to do it 100%.
We have to commit, don't you, I
Yeah.
suppose? Yeah, okay. So you both decide, no, let's just leave well-paid jobs and go into the great unknown.
Yeah.
People listening thinking, what?
Why?
And we work well with impending events, and
Okay.
and that was an impending event. I think you mentioned earlier we had 3 months of savings, so
That's
we
what I
had
read, yeah.
so we had to make this work within 3 months, or we were going back to employment.
Do you think if you hadn't had that, do you think that was like a spur? Did that really kick you in the right direction?
It didn't kick us. I mean, that was it was only 3 months. It wasn't, or 6 months. I think ultimately
fact that it was
could have,
only that.
well, it was only that. I think it helped. There's no doubt about that. So that was, and it just, you felt better. You
It
know,
held you
when were doing-
accountable as well, that you had this, this
we better
time
get
frame.
something.
You need to.
But those are
Get
good
something
lessons.
done.
The living within a very limited budget. I mean, those are very real lessons, aren't they? So you then decide to buy property.
Yeah.
You build a portfolio. What was the first thing you bought?
We bought a property in Aberdeen, actually, which is an hour in Aberdeenshire, just north of Aberdeen, actually.
Small
And,
town called
yeah,
Newmarket.
a place called Newmarket, and it was a sale and rent back. So it was a couple that were splitting up, and the husband wanted to rent the property back. So anyway, we managed to structure. I remember telling my dad about it, and I said, and he said, Aberdeen. You're buying a property in Iowa? Oh no! I mean, put the
Miles
fear.
away.
He put the fear right up us about it. Yet it was a fantastic deal. We only just sold it just
Last year, the year before.
recently, and we had it for a number of years, and it was a great deal. But it was terrifying going back into it when everyone's getting out, and that was the start of it. Then after that, once we got the first one, we had a ready-made tenant. We were able to finance it 100%, so we were able to get our money out, and we were in the game. So it was a race then to get as many of those properties as we could, as quickly as we could, because we were earning cash flow, we had equity in the property, and but the refinance we were able to do immediately gave us some money that lasted us another 6 months to live on. I mean, it was kind of the perfect set of circumstances.
Right.
It was the timing that you
The
had
timing,
obviously
yeah, the timing. Yeah,
studied.
the timing was right, yeah.
The timing was fortuitous, obviously. So how many properties do you have in this portfolio now?
Well, we had over 300 odd at its peak, but we've been selling them recently. I mean, in the UK, the markets and conditions have changed. Most of the properties in the UK and Spain, we branched out there. So we're probably down maybe a couple of hundred now, but they're going down. As they come up and there's value there to sell, we'll take the value.
It's a sizable portfolio.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. There's smiles on both of your faces, so that's a good thing. So that leads to what? What came next after, you thought, we're happy with what we've built, we'll continue to build it, but what was the next step?
Yeah, well, you want to...
Yeah, well,
Yeah, no, great.
we then started, when you're running the property business, you start seeing where the money's going, and all the businesses that, for compliance. So gas certificates, electrical certificates, all the compliance that you need for the day-to-day running of the properties.
I've just done that in Scotland. There's a fair few hoops to jump through. Yeah.
So the management side we kind of looked at, and then we thought, no, that's going to pull you back and hold you back. So we ended up selling the management side of it, but we retained the properties, and then we got involved in, or we seen an opportunity in all the certificates and the business side of it, and that's where you came into.
Yep.
Let's get involved in buying businesses.
It was a natural progression, really. You know, when you're in the property business, you buy them, you then think you're Donald Trump, and you try and develop them, then you soon find out that you know.
Donald Trump
It's a money pit. It's a money pit.
Yeah, you soon find out how good you are when you do that. And so we ventured into some development or that because it was just a natural progression. Then we ventured into some commercial and office buildings. And so we just, again, it was just all property based. Then, of course, with the rules and regulations and tightening up the legislation, it made sense to be on the other side of the fence. We are paying all this money out to maintain and do the properties, you know, and there was only one margin, you know, so it's either there was a fight, you know, where it went. So ultimately, we really had to get on the other side of the fence as well. And I think, but took us a number of years to get to where it made sense for us. We've seen what we're good at is identifying value at certain times. So when the compliance and rules started tightening up and, you know, cleaner, greener energies, we really felt we needed to be into that sector. And so we went looking for, like we went looking for properties, we went looking for businesses that we can go and buy in that sector.
And there are incentives in that regard from government perspective and everything else. Okay, so that's the next step. You now have, so that's one side of it, the property side, United Capital, GCCE Equity Partners, Sustainable Building Services Group. There are lots of different strings to the bow.
Yeah, we do. You know, I think one of the things that we've learned over the year, well, first of all, you know, we've grown out the environment. We're here in Dubai now for a reason. You know, we had to grow out. Scotland is a very small place. The UK is tough at the moment to do business. But what we wanted to do is to keep expanding and keep growing. Not necessarily for the money. We've went from just needing to cover our salaries, which was the target when we quit our jobs, was just to cover our salaries, to now have, you know, doing business internationally, because we got the bug of business that we never seen. We thought we'd have enough money, we could sit on the beach in Spain, laptop lifestyle, life's great.
We lasted 8 months.
We tried it, it was awful, you know, so, and we can do so much more. And we've got so much, we love it, we love business, we love it. And so there's no end or goal, and it's not like a monetary value, because we don't need any more money in that sense. We're fine. But we love the game, we love the business, and it's the blood pumping.
It's the thrill of the chase, isn't it? It seems to me. Okay, let me just go back to something you said there. You know, Scotland, it's tough, everything else. I understand that. Europe and the US at the moment. So you've come to somewhere completely new. But why on earth did you come here, if you don't mind me asking? What led you to Dubai?
We came to Dubai for our honeymoon.
Oh, okay.
18 years ago, and we just, the energy of the place, the can-do energy, the government's pro-growth and business, and and the changes in the last 18 years is absolutely fantastic. So we were coming back and forward on holiday, and then when we were deciding where to live, we always involved the family in big moves, and the children were younger than what they are now, obviously. So we got the flip chart out, and we'd said, the reason why we were looking to move, we're looking to grow as a family. We put the map of the world up on the screen, and we said, right, you have to pick 3 countries each, and then say why you want to live there, and all 4 of us picked Dubai.
Inevitable then, I guess, really. So literally the screen went up and everybody pointed to the one place.
Yeah, well, not
They had
everybody.
3
There was
each,
for different
countries
reasons.
each.
For different
But in the
reasons.
end,
My daughter's was ice cream. I mean, that wasn't really a compelling reason for us to.
Young daughters. No, I'm totally with you.
Yeah. So no, I think absolutely. Why wouldn't you move to Dubai? I mean, the reality is we've been coming here a long time. We travel the world. This year we've travelled pretty much the whole world. There is no better city in the world, I'm telling you, that we've came across, and that's all over the US and South America and all that stuff, than Dubai. And as far as the energy for business. It is just the environment here. I haven't seen it anywhere else.
But there's a huge amount of opportunity here, and there will continue to be a huge amount of opportunity. Dubai's growing at a rate. We've just hit 4 million in Dubai. Abu Dhabi hit 4 million earlier in the year. So, and that's not likely to stop anytime soon. Property values, we're seeing lots of new developments, so that's going to happen. So you're able to do the things that you want to do, Leanne, business-wise, from here in Dubai, as you could anywhere else. So why not be here, I guess?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me ask you about your approach. I was looking at your website, and you two are very focused. For every venture that you start, the end is very much in mind. So it's a kind of an exit entrepreneurial approach, isn't it? You're really looking at, and this is not particularly long term. You look to exit within 4 years?
Yeah,
4
3 to 5 years if we can.
3 to 5 year cycle. Okay. You specialise, this is the phrase, I need to get to the bottom of this phrase to understand it. You specialise in identifying fragmented sectors across key global markets to drive consolidation through strategic acquisition and create significant value. So let me see if I've got this right. You want to get into something, get it moving, and then you're off ski, as it were. Kind of that's really the way you do it, isn't it, in a nutshell? Can you give me an example of that? Give me a good example that would phrase that.
Yeah, if you're looking at, let's say, the renewable sector, for example, so renewable energy, cleaner energy, a lot of companies are maybe old, regional, established, well-run, well-managed gas servicing, plumbing, electrical contractors who are dominant regionally. And are transitioning into cleaner energy, so solar, air source heat pumps, ground source heat pumps, and all this wind energy. So there's a transition going on there now. There is no if I take the UK for example, there is no one huge player in the market yet. Even though the big guys want to do it, there is nobody dominant in that sector. But what you do have is a number of very good regional contractors or operators in that sector. So, and really only the strongest will survive in the end. So what we do is we bring these companies, so we'll go and try and buy these businesses and group them together with a view to protect the business, to protect what they've got. And what it does is it gives the larger players who want to come into it and save time. They'll come in and buy these businesses that are operating and have a lot of the contracts, have a lot of more importantly, the skill set to deliver the next generation of that type of energy. So, for example, we just sold one of our companies to a big Japanese firm. It was a strategic acquisition for them, and because they see the UK as a huge market in the renewables, that they weren't particularly dominant, and we went through a very competitive process in that field, where there were a number of other companies very interested in acquiring us and put bids in. So that's what we do. And the beauty for the companies that we buy is we've protected the business for them and the employees when they would have found it tough up against the big guys. So that's I hope that kind of explains.
No, it does. Do you know what I noticed there above anything else is the look in your eyes when you're explaining it. There's real, you sort of feel the enthusiasm. Yeah. And that's kind of what, because I look at this and you can take it two ways. They just buy it, sell it on, don't really care about it. But you're trying to scale a business in the right way, it seems to me.
Absolutely, and if we take the business that we've done, for example, being part of a bigger group lends itself to bigger asset value. So when they're going for government contracts or big contracts, you need to be solid. So what we were able to do is a number of contracts that on one of the businesses we bought, for example, they would never have been renewed again, because there are other players coming into that sector. So we were able to bolster the balance sheet that gave them the opportunity. So they will tell you, the management team that were there for 15 years before us, they would never have got that new contract, I'd say a 10 or 12-year contract, hadn't it been for a bigger company coming in and giving them that wherewithal. And we bolstered the balance sheet to provide, so the sum of the parts are greater than the individual. You know what I mean? So that has been really effective. It's not about just buying and selling. That's not how we do it. It's seeing opportunity where we can add value, because ultimately it creates value for us as well. So it's very much a win-win. It's not like a ruthless private equity end strip costs. That's not our model at all.
It's also, the Carling Group is a family business, isn't it? So let me just ask you, you're both risk takers. Leanne, I know it's your son that's involved in the business, isn't it? He's what, 22? Am I right?
18.
He's 18?
18, yeah.
Why am I thinking 20? So he's 18 years old, so he's come into the business. Is he like you? Is he of a similar kind of mindset? Is he a chip off the old block?
Yeah,
kind of thing?
I mean, they've been grown up. It's been a very different upbringing for them, you know. Everything that we learn, we try to teach them.
Yeah.
You know, and it sometimes backfires because it's against what the school's teaching him. So he's always, you know, well, Dad, my teacher says the opposite, you know, in economics or, you know, and Graeme was saying, no, that's not real life though, you know, that's
This
school.
is the real world,
That's the
son.
real world. So, yeah, but they're involved in everything, and we take them. We travel the world for the education, you know, or we did when we were younger. They came with us, you know, and we don't sit and watch the TV at night. We watch stuff that's educational. You know, I'm not saying we never do it, but you know, when it's on in the background, there's education there, and that's part of their makeup now.
Okay. How's he doing, Graeme,
He's
in
doing
the business?
good. He's doing good. I mean, you know, you can never tell how things are going to pan out, but I mean, I'm really proud of him. You know, I'm really proud of. He wants to he wants to do well himself. He wants to, you know, he's got a head start. So we've given him the perfect platform to do it. You know, and he's taking the bull by the horns, but he's still, you know, like a young guy. He's got a lot to learn. But the two businesses that he's purchased already have been doing great.
He's 18, he's got
Yeah,
two businesses
yes,
already.
yeah.
That's an opportunity.
Yeah.
And it's actually nice having them on the team as well, because we're old school, and you know, when a young person comes in
I was thinking
and is
that.
sitting in the meetings, he's seen it from a different point of view, and it's actually quite refreshing, because you're thinking, sometimes he'll ask the question and you think,
Oh, he's young.
he's young, but then when you actually evaluate what he's just said, and then give us more on what you're telling or what you think, it's actually quite refreshing.
So it
and
would be like a fresh perspective, I guess. So I was going to ask you that, but it's interesting to hear that. Let's go back to something that you mentioned earlier on, and this was you saying this, Graeme. You hit a time when things went badly. You had to go back to employment. It hit you hard, both financially and from a confidence perspective. And I guess, Liam, I'll ask you for your perspective as well on this. But you're both risk takers now. You're clearly comfortable with risk. But what's the secret to becoming accustomed to risk, to being able to take the risk? Because the fear of failure is there. I guess you went through a certain amount of what you could perceive as being failure. But how do you get accustomed to that? Was that a learning thing?
Yeah, I mean, just the only way to get accustomed
not
to
a
it
choice,
is to
it?
fail. That's it. Yeah, just when you get it, and it's how are you going to react?
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
we all think we'll deal with things in certain ways, but it's only when it really happens. When it, you can read failure in a book, but when you've had it or encounter it or troubles,
it's hitting you personally, emotionally. It's,
you've got to go through it. It is absolutely, for me, it's been a learned thing, and it's been a how do you cope with it when it goes on? But to the extent that it toughens you up, when you get through it and you say, "Oh, that didn't kill me. That didn't kill me. I'm still here.
Yeah.
And we went through it. It was tough. It was horrible, but we're still here. We're still alive, and we're still in the game. We're at
we
it.
always ask ourselves, well, is this life or death?
Is it a blip or?
Is that a blip or a catastrophe?
Well, that's a good way to look at it, isn't it? Because, you read stories of people that go through horrific things, really difficult periods, and they come out of it and grow and everything else. And then it happens to you. And, of course, it's completely different when it's you.
Yeah.
It's the end of the world, and nobody can tell you otherwise. But you do get through it.
Yeah.
And I got really sick 5 years ago. I had bowel cancer, and it was never going to be life-threatening. This is not a sob story. This is just a case. But I was fortunate. I am clear. But it amazed me what you can live through and get through.
Yeah.
And I didn't know, but I didn't have a choice.
Yes.
You have to get on with
Yeah.
it, I think is the
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because if you don't, what else are you going to do? You might as well,
Yeah.
almost in some ways. Where do you get... Resilience is something that comes up on your website as well. You think it's forged as much in challenges as in successes. Where does resilience come from? Is that a learned thing as well, Leanne?
I don't know. I mean,
I'm asking tough questions. Sorry about this.
I think
From a business perspective, the resilience to take the knocks that you've obviously had to take.
I think the knocks are the part of the growth. You need you need the knocks to grow. 'Cause nothing or no business, nobody's built on just everything going plain sailing. And I just think we as people, we look at challenges or setbacks as a problem. How are we going to solve that? And we will sit down and break it down bit by bit to get over the problem. So whether it's a health issue, a business issue, we really discuss it, and we discuss it. How are we going to tackle this and get through it? A lot of people don't. They just bury their head in the sands. But we are let's just face it head on. What can we do to get around this?
No, I mean, I see that because it's too easy to just, something happens and could possibly have an adverse effect or is having an adverse effect on you. If you don't just look at it and go, right, I've got to deal with this. It's a pain. You really can't be bothered to do it, but it's not a choice. You have to. As soon as you do deal with it, seems to me, all of a sudden that's not a problem anymore.
Yeah.
And see the sense of achievement when you've actually got over the problem or the challenge or the failure. When you've got out the other side, and as I say, we review everything. So what's the problem? How are we going to overcome this? And then, scoring it off that flip chart that you've actually achieved. What did we learn? You've got over the problem. And what did we learn?
Do you do that? Do you analyse if you would actually sit and say, look, what did we get from this? What did we take away from this?
What will we do in the future better? What will we never do again? So...
Right.
I think certainly for me it's experience. A lot of stuff we do now, we don't see any of it as risk. It's just you're hardened, you're battle hardened as you go through them through experience. So people can look at certain things and we don't see it as a risk at all. Or it's tiny, but because we're always trying to push the envelope higher. So what would appear risky for Leanne's mum, who thinks, how can you sleep at night, with the amount of stuff that you've got going on? To us, we're saying, well, sleep fine. We're good.
That's just mums. That's a mum thing. So a couple more questions where we've got a little bit more time. One of the things that you do, that you're involved in, and I think a lot of people do this, if you've got somewhere, there's a feeling that you want to give something back. Philanthropy, for want of a better phrase, is something that you're involved with. Talk me through the steps to doing that and what you're doing, Graeme.
Well, great question. I think, first of all, I don't like this saying giving back. Because that's almost like, I used to take my brother's ball from him when he was wee, and my mum would tell me, give him it back. So I'd taken something that I shouldn't have. That's not, we've worked. From when we started and before we even had or at the very first property, we were always giving something. We didn't have much, but we always done a charitable, something, whatever we could do, whether it was an event or any money we done, or we tried a fundraising thing.
Why was that? Because not a lot of people do that.
Yeah.
What was that in you that does that?
It was part of it, I suppose, the financial educational part. And look, I think everybody wants to give something. They wants to do something, or something, whether it's a cancer charity or like at the moment, our daughter has diabetes now. There's always something that's close to your heart that you would feel like, oh, hold on. But we always done it from the start. Now, but we knew we could give more. The more we earned, the more we grew as people. The more then we wanted to make a bigger impact, and that's just the case. And it's just evolved over years. So it's not something we got to a certain number, then you get a bit guilty, and or you feel that no. It's been part of our sort of psyche.
When we started out, we didn't have a lot of money, and as Graeme said, we gave what we could. but we got involved with a lot of charities, doing events and raising money and donating stock and different things. You know, there's been loads and loads of ways that we've worked with charities without just giving money. At the start, but in the later years, it's been.
We've been, fortunate that we're in a position that we could, do more, and we've went into different types of charities as well. So, and it's a very fulfilling thing. It's just, something. When you do it and the numbers just get bigger, it's just part of what you do. So it's not a deliberate, trying to buy our way into heaven or something. It's not anything like that. It is something that we have always done from the start. So it's not conscious. And if we can do it, and we feel really good about it, and look, we've done well. So if someone's looking after us, if we can help out or do it, and we might need it ourselves one day.
Yeah, it's an admirable thing, I think. It's just interesting the motivation for doing it, because if you can do it, quite clearly you should do it.
Yeah.
I mean that's not a bad way to think. What about what's next? What are you doing at the moment? What can you tell me without having to shoot me? Basically.
Well, at the moment, we've just exited one of our businesses, and that was a very significant deal in the UK. That was just 3 months ago. It's probably one of the biggest deals in that type of sector, certainly in Scotland, maybe in the last sort of 20 years. So it was a significant deal. We're proud of that. It was a long process to get there. So we're now, I mean, as we're looking at international investments, we're happy to be back in Dubai. We're good to be here for a period of time. As we said, we've been travelling the world. So we're back here focusing on our plans.
You're back living here.
Living here,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Right.
We've always been living here, but we've been travelling a lot. But we're here for the foreseeable, fully focused on the next step for us, and it's very much around. We've been working on an AI project for the last 2 years. Again, why Dubai? The energy and even the wherewithal. I can go to Starbucks and seeing a guy, speaking to a guy, and everybody's talking about AI. Nobody's really saying anything when we're in the States. It's from an environment point of view, it's fantastic to be back here. So we're taking this time to position ourselves to take advantage. It's moving quick, so we need to be quick. But ultimately, having came through what we've came through, what we're not doing is retiring or sitting doing nothing. We're repositioning, ready for the next phase.
That much is clear. And what about local businesses? What about businesses here in the UAE?
Yeah, well, I mean, we're open to that. Absolutely, we're looking at. We've been offered various things We've been here since 2021, and we've been offered, and we've looked at a few things. Nothing's felt quite right or the right opportunity, but it'll come up. And whilst we're here, and we'll continue to speak and be involved in it. So when the right opportunity comes up, but we're very much focused on the AI project now, because that's very exciting. Something that gets us.
It is. I mean, it's what everybody's talking about, isn't it? Let's face it. What would you? Final question. What would you really like to? I mean, your success comes from. I mean, the original success comes from building a property portfolio. So that's a very specific sector, way to make your money. What would you really like to do? Is there something in you that you'd love to run a bunch of health clubs, whatever it would be? Is there a particular thing either of you would like to do?
I've not got that. No, I don't.
It's just the opportunity.
It's just wherever the opportunity is.
There's
nothing. I'm really, really though excited around the whole AI thing. I'm loving learning about it. I'm loving being involved in it, speaking to people, and the potential of it is just incredible. You can get scared by it, which a lot of people are, but sure. I'm a glass half full guy. I am loving that part of it and having the time to really focus in on it. So at the moment, that for me, but I don't have, I don't want to buy Glasgow Rangers, I don't have any of these desires to go and do something crazy. I don't have that.
The foot went down there. Did you see that?
Yes.
Immediate. Leanne, what is?
Although I'm a Rangers supporter, no, it's not.
Would you want to buy Rangers?
No.
No. Okay, fair enough. Probably not the best business decision at the moment. No. Is there something you'd like to do? Have you got is there something in your mind?
No, I just love business, and we've been involved in various different sectors, you know, from dental to property to health. You know, I do love animals, and it kind of interests me. You know, we take our animals everywhere with us. We've got 3 dogs, and the paperwork and the organisation to ship them about absolutely fascinates me.
And
But
you're
I don't know if
thinking,
I don't know if there's any money in it. But I just like, could the AI make it a bit more easier, because it is so time consuming. But no, there's nothing. You know, we just love deals. I mean, it's the numbers that fascinate us. So it doesn't really matter the sector. So when we're analysing the deal, it's not that we're going to work in it. You know, there'll always be a team, but it's how can we buy, grow, and sell.
I think the thing is, generally for me, we love meeting new people. You know, get great business like-minded. See, like-minded, not really like-minded, but people that are in it and love it and are passionate about us. It's our sport. It's our game. You know.
Is that something? I'll keep you talking here, because there's loads I'm thinking about. But this will be the last question, I promise. But is that something that's really important to you? Because you're both very friendly, very outgoing, clearly very astute, and you've taught. You know, you've taught yourselves. So there's clearly an interest there, I think is what I'm saying. But is that sort of personality-driven side of business, is that the first sort of draw? You know, because, you know, dealing with people, talking to people, trying to understand how people think. Is that still a thrill?
It's still a thrill, and I think what we are very much about is leading by example. You know, we are not gurus that are going to stand and preach because, you know, they've white labelled someone else's content. We're not that. We're not that type. We are hardcore entrepreneur business people that do, and we want people to do well. But we're going to lead by. We're going to teach or show the way that we've done it. It's just our way. It's not the way. It's our way. And I think we love that. You know, we will be the ones that will, you know, the pioneers, if you like, the ones that will be. You know, we're walking the talk, and I think that for us is important. That we that makes us feel good that we do that.
It's been really interesting talking to you. You know, I had a whole structure of questions, and I haven't used any of it. But sometimes that's just the way it goes. Entrepreneurship on Mira Business FM. Graeme and Leanne Carling, Scottish entrepreneurs, investors, and co-founders of the Carling Group, a family investment office. Graeme, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Good to Leanne. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Good to talk to you. It's Mira Business FM.